Welcome back to the journey through real-life mysteries and chilling true stories. And if this is your first time here, be prepared, because the stories you're about to hear won't just send shivers down your spine. They'll make you wonder what might be lurking just beyond what we can see. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share this channel with fellow seekers of the strange and unexplained. Are you ready? The journey begins now. It was built before the first American colony. For over 400 years, it witnessed screams, executions, and the slow rotting of human souls. Some say the walls themselves breathe. Others claim the prison never emptied. Only the inmates became. Harder to see. What really lurks beneath Prison Shepton Mallet? And why do the dead refuse to leave? The Hell Prison. Once you step inside, you don't just lock away your body, you seal your soul alongside those who never left. Prison Shepton Mallet is a real facility located in the town of Shepton Mallet, Somerset, UK. Opened in 1610 and operating for over 400 years before its closure in 2013, it was the oldest working prison in England. From public executions to wartime detentions and unexplained deaths, this prison has witnessed countless horrors. Many of its darkest secrets remain buried behind stone walls, sealed corridors, and chilling eyewitness testimonies of supernatural events. In 2014, a paranormal research team called Ghost UK was granted overnight access to the old execution wing of Shepton Mallet Prison. While placing microphones in the basement corridor, team member Claire Eastwood heard heavy breathing close to her ear. Despite standing completely alone, one of the recorders picked up a faint whisper. "It's not my time. It's not my time." The sound came from a bricked-over wall. No door, no access, no records of what's behind it. Just cold stone. But the voice is still there. Originally built in the early 17th century, Shepton Mallet functioned as a typical medieval prison. Between 1610 and 1870, over 300 prisoners were executed, many by public hanging in the inner yard. Some were accused witches, others were heretics, a few wrongly convicted. Today, after heavy rain, reddish streaks still leak from the cracks in that yard's stone floor. Guards have reported seeing wet, barefoot tracks dragging through the hallway towards cell number 4, vacant since 1987. And almost nightly, the clinking of chains is heard, echoing from nowhere. During World War II, the U.S. Army used Shepton Mallet as a military prison, conducting secret executions of American soldiers found guilty of murder or rape. At least 18 men were hanged in silence, their bodies buried beneath stone or hidden within walls. No names, no graves. A BBC reporter, while reading aloud the trial transcript of one Private Miller during a documentary shoot, suddenly collapsed, eyes wide in terror, gasping as though being strangled. When the footage was reviewed, a dark figure stood behind him the entire time. Yet the room had only 2 people present. Below the prison lies a sealed-off solitary wing, once used to confine death row inmates. The cells were windowless, lit only by candlelight, with iron loops to chain the prisoners. In 1992, after a guard was found hanged inside, without anything to hang from, the entire floor was shut off permanently. In 2006, a rogue team of urban explorers descended into the basement. Halfway down the corridor, every watch and camera stopped working. The footage later recovered showed 7 minutes of black static, followed by sobbing. None of them remembered what happened. Albert Davies, a senior warden at the prison from 1975 to 1994, lived in the officers' quarters beside the execution wing. After retirement, he wrote a private memoir, which he mailed, never published, to the Somerset Historical Society. Point 1. Excerpt reads, "I thought I was just locking up men. But after 20 years here, I'm sure of one thing. I lived with ghosts. Some nights, I'd feel breathing on my neck while doing paperwork. Once, the cell door swung open, and I saw a blindfolded man sitting on the cot, holding a noose." The final page of the memoir was marked in red ink. "I let them out. They're not locked anymore." In 2015, a Church of England clergy team joined forces with a psychic medium to perform a spiritual cleansing ceremony in the old prison chapel. As the rites began, the lights cut out and candles burned backwards, flames descending toward the wax, smoke rising and forming a distorted human face on the ceiling. The ritual ended abruptly when a participant collapsed, convulsing uncontrollably. He was hospitalized, repeating only one phrase for 6 hours. "The gate is open. The gate is open." Since that night, the chapel remains closed. Surveillance cameras malfunction every 48 hours. No complete footage of that exorcism exists. Today, Shepton Mallet Prison is open to tourists during daylight and to thrill seekers at night. Guests are led through execution rooms, solitary cells, and the old interrogation block, but are strictly warned not to linger in any one spot for more than 3 minutes. One student group captured an audio file in Execution Room 2. "I've waited for you for so long. Now it's your turn." No one recognized the voice. No women were ever imprisoned here, and no one had spoken during the recording. Why haven't these spirits moved on? Could it be that 4 centuries of silence turned this prison into a gate to the beyond, where the forgotten scream not to be heard, but to be remembered? A forgotten tomb sealed in Roman times. A bronze lamp still burning after 1,400 years. No air, no oil refills, no explanation. The flame should have died centuries ago, yet it didn't. This isn't mythology. It's a documented phenomenon that has terrified scientists, historians, and the Vatican for centuries. Some believe it was lost technology. Others think it was divine. But a few whisper that it wasn't human at all. What was this eternal flame really guarding? And why did the church want it silenced forever? the eternal flame in the Roman tomb. The phenomenon of lamps burning for hundreds of years inside sealed Roman and Egyptian tombs is not mere folklore. Ancient scholars such as Plutarch, Pausanias, Herodotus, and even medieval Christian clerics recorded such events. Numerous documents from the Renaissance describe lamps still burning when tombs were unearthed, only to extinguish mysteriously soon after. To this day, science has failed to offer a convincing explanation for this so-called eternal flame. The following story reconstructs one of the most famous cases, compiled from many historical sources and retold in a mystery investigative style. In May 1492, on the hills near Naples, southern Italy, a group of farmers digging foundations for a livestock shed caused the ground to collapse, revealing a marble structure intricately carved with Roman motifs. As they removed the stone slabs, sealing the entrance, they were stunned to see a faint light glowing from within that it came from an ancient bronze lamp suspended from the tomb's ceiling. It was burning quietly and steadily, next to a stone sarcophagus engraved with the name of a Roman noblewoman. No one had added oil. No one had tended the flame. Yet it burned. For how long? Franciscan monks were called to investigate. They dated the tomb to around 100 to 120 AD. This meant the lamp had been burning for over 1,300 years, inside a completely sealed chamber, without ventilation or any contact with the outside world. The lamp was removed and placed in a nearby monastery for observation. It continued to burn for 22 more days before extinguishing, without any known cause. Upon disassembling the lamp, scholars found it made of an unknown alloy, a mix of lead, zinc, and copper in an unfamiliar ratio. The wick was made of non-flammable mineral fibers. The fuel was an oil-like substance that defied chemical analysis with contemporary methods. Attempts were made to replicate it. All failed. Using every known oil, vegetable, animal, or mineral, none could burn for more than 6 days. The questions grew louder. Had the Romans possessed a technology long lost to time? Or was this evidence of knowledge beyond conventional science? The Naples case was not isolated. Numerous similar events were recorded from antiquity through the Middle Ages. Athens, Greece. Pausanias described an eternal lamp in the temple of Minerva. Thebes, Egypt. A lamp was found still burning in the tomb of a priestess of Isis, opened in the 6th century. Warden Castle, England. In 1232, a bronze lamp was discovered still burning in a long-abandoned watchtower. Paris, France. Monk Jean de Chalon documented a lamp that had burned for 73 years in a relic chamber. The strange commonality. When these lamps were removed from their original locations, they all extinguished within days and could never be reignited, despite full wicks and ample fuel. From the 13th to the 17th century, the Church swiftly intervened whenever such lamps surfaced. Several scholars were condemned for heresy after studying these flames, most notably Jesuit priest Alberto Fieschi, who was burned at the stake in 1611 after claiming to have unlocked the secret of the eternal fire. The Vatican reportedly established a covert order tasked with collecting and destroying all eternal lamps. The reasons were never disclosed. Leaked documents hinted at a chilling rationale: This flame is not of God. It watches. It remembers. In the 19th century, chemists from Germany and Britain attempted to decode the mystery. Gas theory. Some proposed the lamps burned via reaction with natural methane seeping from tomb geology, slow oxidation. Others believed the sealed chambers slowed combustion to a near-static rate. Unknown compound. A few suggested the ancients had created a hyperstable fuel that modern science had lost. Yet all theories collapsed under one truth. No one has ever replicated the effect, and all lamps ceased burning permanently once disturbed, even when fuel and wick were intact. Some esoteric scholars believe these were not mere lamps, but ancient energy devices, possibly linked to structures like the pyramids or Delphi Temple. They noted the light emitted was unusually stable, not flickering like a typical flame. Older theories suggest these lamps are remnants of lost pre-human civilizations or even extraterrestrial technology. Perhaps they were spiritual sensors, energy anchors, or devices meant to guard something slumbering deep below. Today, more than 20 cases of eternal lamps are documented in historical archives, but none remain. All have gone out irreversibly. Some researchers believe that at least one still burns in some forgotten crypt, silently defying time. Final questions linger. Were these flames relics of a forgotten intellect? Or are they warnings from a realm not meant to be disturbed, where light does not illuminate, but stands watch over secrets never meant to awaken? In 1997, a handwritten letter was sent to a police station in New York. Its content was strange, ominous, and dismissed as delusional. The letter described 2 skyscrapers in Manhattan being destroyed by airplanes, a date that matched or closely resembled September 11, mention of a man named Bin Laden as the mastermind, a warning that the U.S. government would be unable to stop the catastrophe. The letter was filed by the FBI and forgotten. 4 years later, the 9/11 terrorist attack occurred. Nearly every detail in the letter came true. But who wrote the letter? How did they know in advance? Why wasn't the letter taken seriously? And if someone truly saw the future, where did they come from? The prophecy letter about 9/11, sent in 1997. The letter is real, cited in a series of FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, documents released by public request. Its contents were confirmed to exist in a 1997 record. Internal case number undisclosed. The letter was first received by a police station in Brooklyn, New York. The IT was later forwarded to the FBI, but classified as non-urgent, unreliable warning. Handwriting did not match any U.S. citizen records. No name or return address. After 9/11, the letter was retrieved and encrypted into classified archives, not declassified until over 15 years later. mentioned briefly by media and investigative programs in 2011 and 2017, CBS, NPR, Reddit leaks. One morning in July 1997, an unaddressed envelope was delivered to the Brooklyn South Police Precinct in New York. Inside was a handwritten letter in blue ink, 2 pages long, and signed, with no fingerprints. Its content made the duty officer laugh. 2. Iron birds will break the Twin Towers of Manhattan. Blood will fall from the sky. Bin Laden has struck. Though bizarre, the letter was documented under Internal File, New York, OB 3471, and sent to the local FBI office. That FBI found no evidence connecting the writer to any terrorist group. The letter was classified as a non-credible alert, likely delusional or mentally ill, and then it vanished into storage. After September 11th, as America descended into chaos, national security agencies began rescanning archived files that a young FBI staffer named Marcus Cardenas discovered a strange folder in the Stored Alerts section. He couldn't believe his eyes reading. The letter written in 1997, "The Twin Towers will collapse like flowing sand. The sky will split open to the east of the city. Bin Laden has chosen the date. The collapse will begin at floor 90. The actual impact points were the 93rd floor, North Tower, and 77th floor, South Tower." Was this mere coincidence? The biggest question now was not whether the letter was real, but who wrote it. FBI reanalyzed the handwriting, but found no matches in any database. Ink and paper were common, inexpensive types, untraceable. Some agents began to suspect. Was the writer a former Al-Qaeda member, a rogue U.S. operative, or worse, someone who had seen the future? A bold theory emerged on online forums after the letter's contents were leaked. The letter came from the future. The writer existed in a different timeline. A research group at MIT had once theorized that if someone time-traveled to change the past, they couldn't stop events, only create a new branch of time. Could the letter writer have lived in a future where they witnessed 9/11 and tried to send a desperate warning back in time? The media never reported the letter in major news coverage. Only a few late-night programs discussed it under disturbing coincidences. FBI refused public confirmation, but many former agents verified the letter's existence. Some conspiracy theories suggested the letter may have been deliberately ignored. CIA or NSA might have known something, but failed to act, or worse, parts of the government wanted the event to happen. The 1997 letter also contained a few overlooked lines. "After the wings are burned, the West shall bleed in the desert, and one day the sea will boil." Many now believe this referred to the Iraq War and perhaps climate change. Did the writer know more? But no one bothered to read the entire message. In 2019, a copy of the letter leaked on Reddit. The post was deleted within 3 hours, and the user account was permanently suspended. Some fringe websites archived portions, but none could verify the full source. Whether real or not, the letter persists as a haunting question. Was fate warned in advance and ignored? Or did the universe try to alert humanity but no one believed enough to act? Who wrote the letter, and how did they know about 9/11? Are there more letters like it yet to be revealed? What would happen if we found the next prophecy? Would we believe it this time? If you received a letter from the future, what would you do? After a heavy rain, villagers in Costesti, Romania, noticed something strange. The smooth, round rocks in their yards seemed to have grown, not once, not just one. And it wasn't their imagination. These stones left behind growth rings, like trees. Some appeared to move a few centimeters per year. Some even sprouted branches like fungi or living creatures, and no one could explain it. Locals call them trovant, the living stones. Scientists believe it's a result of mineral sediment reaction, but the phenomenon cannot be replicated in laboratories. Others believe they're a form of geobiological life, or ancient remnants of extraterrestrial organisms. The stones that grow, the Trovan enigma of Romania. Trovants are rocks that appear to grow in size after rain, found primarily in Costesti, Romania. Recorded since 1803, described in 19th century Romanian geological records. The Romanian government declared the area a natural protected monument. In 2004, Geological Institutes recorded growth rates between 1 to 4 mm/year after rainfall. However, no existing theory fully explains their ability to expand, branch out, and leave growth traces. Some stones have bizarre shapes resembling alien life forms, biological organs, or entirely new natural structures. Each spring, Costesti experiences heavy rains. In 2000, a boy named Iosif ran into the yard and shouted, "Mom, this rock is bigger than it was this morning." At first, adults dismissed it as a child's imagination. But when comparing old photos, some rocks truly had grown. No one believed it. Until 2002, when local journalists came to investigate. They measured one stone, 16 centimeters in diameter. 10 days of rain later, it had expanded to 21 centimeters, and it had growth rings like a tree trunk. Some trovants didn't just grow, they branched out. Archived footage shows a stone developing a bulge on its side that later detached like a baby stone. The main stone bore a clear mark, a slip root trace. This behavior has never been observed in any known mineral. Some biologists theorize that trovants act like fungi, not entirely living, but part of a semi-biological system. Geologists explain the phenomenon as high concentrations of silica and carbonate reacting to rainwater, creating internal pressure and outward growth. But lab tests failed to replicate the process. No variation in pressure, temperature, or water. Composition recreated the same structured growth. More troubling, some stones showed layered patterns similar to protein or collagen deposits. unheard of in inorganic matter. Villagers say that some trovents slowly change position over the years, especially after storms. A 2007 study found at least 9 large stones had moved between 1 to 3 centimeters over 8 months. They didn't roll downhill, they moved sideways, in spirals, or converged. Some left behind twisting drag marks in the soil, as if pulled by an unknown force. When a trovent is cut open, it looks nothing like common stones. Concentric rings like tree growth, dense cores with hollow outer areas. Microscopy revealed primitive cell-like patterns that in 2013, a biology team from Austria and Japan used isotope scanners and found an increase in microionic activity after rainfall, similar to how living organisms exchange matter. Some fringe researchers propose trovents are remnants of a silicon-based alien life form that a semi-organic Earth system that predates humanity, geologic memory nodes storing the planet's life cycle patterns. Locals call them the eyes of Mother Earth, and follow a taboo: never break or remove one from castesti. They call the others to return. At the Trovan Outdoor Museum in Romania, over 60 stones are on display. Some are still growing. Some are splitting. Researchers visit yearly. None offer a definitive explanation. But one thing is clear: they are waiting for rain, waiting for the right conditions, or waiting for a signal from far beyond Earth. Are trovents natural geological phenomena, or a form of unclassified life? Why do they mostly appear in Romania and nowhere else? Are they moving towards something, or gathering for a hidden purpose? If they're ancient alien beings, are they asleep or silently watching us? A train with no name, no destination, no driver, and if you step aboard, you may never return. Silver Pylon, the silver ghost train that silently glides through Stockholm's underground, carrying passengers into oblivion. This is not a legend. It's real, and it hasn't stopped. The Ghost Train of Stockholm, Silver Pylon. This story is rooted in real events from the Stockholm metro system, specifically revolving around a silver-colored train known as Silver Pylon, the Silver Arrow. Originally a backup train, Silver Pylon had no official schedule, occasionally appearing during late-night test runs. Over time, however, strange sightings emerged. People claimed to see it stopping at abandoned stations, or worse, boarding it and never coming back. While Swedish authorities have never officially linked Silver Pylon to the scattered disappearances. In the metro system, several transit workers resigned, claiming they felt watched in empty cabins. Swedish media once reported on multiple disappearances at Kimling, a station never used publicly, where only Silver Pylon was said to stop. Stockholm's Line 11 is one of the oldest and most complex in Sweden's underground system. Despite its meticulous maintenance and strict timetables, there are persistent urban legends of a ghost train, one that doesn't appear on any schedule, doesn't register on control boards, and sometimes glides silently through stations at midnight, and no one knows where it comes from. More unsettlingly, no one has ever clearly recorded it on video. Surveillance cameras often glitch when this train passes, and those who've glimpsed it only agree on one thing. Its body shines like polished metal, and it is completely empty. Built in the 1960s as a prototype, Silverpilen was the only metro train in Stockholm not painted in the traditional green. Instead, its bare aluminum surface gleamed like a mirror, giving it an almost surreal appearance in the dim tunnels. Rarely used, it was mostly parked at maintenance depots or occasionally deployed during rush hours. Its rarity gave rise to a myth, a train that could appear anywhere, even in disused stations. Some eyewitnesses claim they boarded Silverpilen without realizing it was something else. It stopped quietly like any other train, but minutes later, they noticed it was eerily empty, its windows foggy, its lights flickering, and it no longer stopped at any stations. In 1982, a woman named Ingrid Carlson called home at 1:48 a.m., saying she got on the wrong train and was passing through a station without lights. That was the last anyone heard from her. Ingrid's body was never recovered. Some said she fell onto the tracks, but there was no camera footage. Others claimed she was struck by another train, but no other trains ran that night. Kymling is a half-built metro station never open to the public. It lies between two major stops, but remains unfinished and unused. Yet many claim to have seen Silverpilen slowing down or stopping there, as if to pick someone up, even though no one should be there. Locals in Sweden whisper a chilling phrase: "Only the dead get off at Kymling." Perhaps once a metaphor, but when several missing person cases were traced back to their last known location, they all had one thing in common. Their final train passed Kymling around dawn. The station has no guards, no power, no signage. But every morning, fresh footprints are found on the dusty floors. In 1997, a metro janitor named Sven Lindström quit his job after a terrifying night shift that he reported. "I was cleaning Ridhuset station when I heard a train coming, but the schedule showed no more trains after 1 a.m. I looked out and saw a silver train gliding by, completely silent, no lights inside." Sven didn't think much of it until days later, he heard that a high school boy had vanished from that very station at the exact same time, last seen walking the platform. The boy was staring down the tunnel as if something were calling to him. Stockholm police once launched an internal investigation after 4 people disappeared in the same month, all last seen entering metro stations, but never recorded leaving. Train logs showed no unauthorized trains, yet a senior transit operator admitted to local press, "Sometimes we get strange blips on the radar. A train that shouldn't be there, visible for a few minutes, then gone. We call it the ghost train. No arrests, no video proof. But one anonymous man swore he boarded Silverpilen, saw passengers with white, eyeless faces, and then blacked out that he woke up 3 days later at an abandoned station miles from where he entered. In 2002, Silver Pylon was officially dismantled. But the stories never stopped. From Copenhagen to Helsinki, people reported seeing a silver train gliding through the darkness late at night. Some believe it's not a train at all, but a portal to another dimension where time, air, and souls drift endlessly. Conspiracy theorists say Silver Pylon was once part of a military experiment, later covered up. None of it is proven. No one knows the truth. But even today, the Stockholm Metro sometimes receives odd signal spikes on Line 11 at exactly 1:46 a.m., the time Ingrid Carlson made her final call. One night, if you saw a silver train pull into your station, no name, no driver, no destination, would you step aboard just to see where it ends? She was only 5 years old, but she spoke of another life. A white house by the sea, a father named Shane, a black dog, a fall, and then blood. Cameron Macaulay had never set foot on the island of Barra, yet she described it with chilling accuracy, down to the furniture, the smells, the sky. Was she simply imagining things? Or had her soul truly returned from another life? One where she died too soon? This is one of the most documented and baffling past life cases in history, and it will shake everything you believe about death. The Girl Who Remembered Barra, Cameron's Past Life Memories. This story is based on real-life events involving Cameron Macaulay, a young girl from Glasgow, Scotland. Since 2005, several television networks and researchers have studied her case as one of the most convincing instances of past life recall. In the UK, Cameron described vivid memories of a previous life on the remote island of Barra, a place she had never visited, remembering her former family, home, and even her death in striking detail. From the age of 3, Cameron Macaulay puzzled her parents with recurring dreams. Unlike other children who imagined superheroes or cartoons, she dreamed of a white house by a stunningly blue ocean. In her dreams, she lived there with a father named Shane, a mother, and siblings. A black dog rested near the fireplace, and airplanes often flew across the sky above the house. Cameron spoke of these visions not as fantasies, but with the clarity of lived experience, vivid, emotional,
and consistent.
Her Catholic parents, initially worried about her mental health, consulted a child psychologist. But Cameron was deemed completely normal. As she grew, she shared even more details. The house's layout, white paint, a lawn out front, brass doorknobs, a blue bunk bed, and the morning sea breeze coming through a half-open window. At age 4, Cameron said something that stunned her mother. "I want to go home, Mom. Home to Barra." When her mother asked where that was, she replied simply, "Where I lived before I was Cameron." From that point, Cameron spoke of Barra with longing. She claimed to have lived there with a father named Shane Robertson, a fisherman who died after falling from a balcony. "I saw him fall," she once whispered. There was blood. Then everything went dark. Neither of her parents had ever heard of Barra, a remote Scottish island with only a few hundred residents. Yet Cameron described it in detail. A family of 5, a white seaside home, cliffs nearby, and sailing paper boats with her brother beneath a staircase. These weren't random dreams. They were consistent, emotional, and oddly precise. Concerned for their child's well-being, Cameron's mother reached out to a British documentary series specializing in past life phenomena. The case caught the attention of Dr. Jim Tucker, a psychologist from the University of Virginia renowned for his work on reincarnation studies. When Dr. Tucker met Cameron, he was astonished. The child could describe a home's layout, smells, and ambient sounds with uncanny precision. He identified furniture, curtain types, the creak of the kitchen door, and even the sound of sand beneath his feet when walking to the back garden. "I remember everything," Cameron said. "I lived there, and I died there." Dr. Tucker recorded everything meticulously and proposed something unprecedented, taking Cameron to Barra to test whether his memories matched reality. The trip to Barra was documented by a film crew. Upon arrival, Cameron lit up and waved at the land. "Hello, old home." Even more incredible, while driving along the coast, Cameron asked the driver to turn down a narrow dirt path. Though unfamiliar to the crew, he insisted. At the end stood a white house, backed against a rocky cliff facing the sea. It looked identical to Cameron's drawings. The current homeowner had no known connection to Cameron, but allowed the crew to enter. Cameron wandered in silently, then pointed. "That's the kitchen. My room was upstairs. The mailbox used to be right here." Overwhelmed with emotion, she wept. "I lived here. I remember it all." Investigators discovered something chilling. A Robertson family had indeed lived on Barra in the 1960s. They owned a black dog, had 5 family members, and the father died in a fall. The house Cameron led them to had once been theirs. Some older neighbors confirmed the story. There was a young boy who died very young, long ago. Yet, no official records confirmed a Shane Robertson who died from a balcony fall. Possibly the records were lost or never filed, given the island's remoteness. But the specifics Cameron had given, the furniture, the layout, the sea-facing windows, were undeniably accurate. Her parents were baffled. Her mother, torn between fear and wonder, said, "I can't explain it, but she found something that belongs to her, from a place we'd never even heard of." Dr. Jim Tucker remained cautious. He never declared it absolute proof of reincarnation, but called Cameron's case one of the hardest to dismiss. Although they couldn't confirm the precise past identity, the consistency and detail were remarkable. Skeptics argued Cameron could have learned about Barra through media, but her parents insisted no one in the family had ever heard of the island, and she had never seen any programs about it at one point. Cameron even pointed to Barra on a map without ever having studied geography. Psychologically, the phenomenon defies conventional explanation. By the time Cameron turned 7, her memories began to fade. She stopped mentioning Barra, stopped dreaming of the White House. She She gradually embraced her present life as a modern child in Glasgow. Dr. Tucker explained this as common. Children with past life recall often lose these memories by age 6 or 7 as their present identity forms. Yet what Cameron remembered, what she led the adults to discover, remains an extraordinary mystery. Every child might hold a key to another world within them. And for a brief moment, Cameron reminded us all, perhaps death is not the end. If someone could clearly remember their own death and the life before, would you believe they had lived again, or were merely a mind lost between layers of memory? A scream with no source, a howl that no machine could record. In 2020, deep in the Jura mountains of France, villagers began hearing terrifying sounds from nowhere, long, echoing roars that vanished as suddenly as they appeared. What they heard couldn't be explained. What they felt was beyond science. The Scream of God from the Jura Desert, France, 2020. In 2020, during the height of COVID-19 lockdowns, residents living near the Jura Plateau in the Franche-Comté region, eastern France, bordering Switzerland, began reporting terrifying howls echoing through the night. These sounds were prolonged, deep, unlike any known animal calls, with no discernible source. And most notably, they were not captured by any recording equipment, including radio transmitters, radar, or seismic sensors. The phenomenon quickly caused panic as eyewitnesses from villages miles apart described the same experience. The screams seemed to resonate from beneath the ground or the upper layers of the atmosphere, with no identifiable origin. Some called it the Scream of God. Others believed it was a warning from something beyond human comprehension. May 2020. On local social media groups, the first post came from the Les Rouses region, describing a roaring sound like a dragon reverberating through the valleys around midnight. The first recording came from Martine Durand, a retired elementary school teacher. In her clip, there's only wind, owl calls, and then a roaring sound like the fury of nature itself. It lasted nearly a full minute, echoing and then fading, leaving the chilling impression that something otherworldly had just spoken. In the following days, dozens of other witnesses from villages 10 to 20 kilometers apart shared similar videos. The same roar, the same time. No one could explain it. Francois Marat, a goat farmer from St. Claude, recalled, "At first, I thought it was a low-flying aircraft. But no, there were no lights, no engines, and the sound just dragged on and on." He brought his recordings to a local radio station, but the technicians found no matching frequency on any part of the electromagnetic spectrum. That a team of audio engineers arrived on site. They deployed subsonic, ultrasonic, and magnetic wave sensors, but detected nothing. "We found no source," they concluded. No electromagnetic interference, no sonic disruption, just absolute silence. Most bizarrely, no device could accurately capture the scream. While humans reported hearing it clearly, a blend of growls, earthquake-like rumblings, and distorted musical tones, recording devices picked up only wind. The shared videos all looked the same: dark scenery, trembling voices, but the strange sound was missing. Some compared it to non-physical sound, a form of sensory auditory phenomenon heard only by humans, untraceable by technology. Similar occurrences were reported in studies of supernatural activity in Siberia and Spain, but never in France. Claude Bouchard, 84, living in Hautes-Combes, told a journalist, "I've heard that sound before." In 1961, the whole village heard it. People thought it was a Soviet bomb, but it vanished. No one spoke of it again. Further investigation revealed similar reports from 1961, 1983, and 2001. Vague murmurs of eerie howls across Jura's forests. Since no evidence existed, they were dismissed as rumors. But it seemed that every few decades, something awakened and roared. A team of atmospheric physicists from the University of Grenoble set up seismic sensors, multi-band sound analyzers, and ground-penetrating radar. They found no seismic activity, no atmospheric anomalies, and no unusual frequencies. Some speculated it could be thermal inversion acoustic waves, sounds bounced from the upper atmosphere. But Jura's terrain made that unlikely. Their final statement: an anomalous acoustic phenomenon, as yet unexplained. After a few weeks, the screams abruptly stopped. No warnings, no trace, but the people of Jura were changed. Many developed insomnia. Children began having nightmares of dark shapes flying across the night sky. Some families quietly left the region. In September 2020, a group of sound artists returned to Jura hoping to capture any remnants. In their final recording, all they captured were footsteps, insects, and a nearly 2-minute stretch of pure silence, a moment that sent chills down their spines when replayed in the studio. Was it a natural phenomenon beyond current science? A cry from Earth itself? Or something else entirely beyond our perception? And if it comes back, do we really want to hear it again? Was it a natural phenomenon beyond current science? A cry from Earth itself? Or something else entirely beyond our perception? And if it comes back, do we really want to hear it again? The story ends here, but the mystery still lingers somewhere out there, hiding in the dark. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. If you felt a chill down your spine, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell, and share this story. We'll meet again in the next night with another mystery. Good night.